Okay. How's everybody doing? Good. We're going to start this, hopefully, we're going to start this 5-year-old mare today. Thank you all for coming. My name is Matt. I'm from Hamilton, Montana, just about 3 hours south. I own a BLM holding facility down there that we contract with the BLM, and we provide a location to adopt BLM horses out of there about April through about October, usually, in most cases. So I have some experience working with wild ones. Obviously, this is not a wild horse, but I also love Colt Starting. Callie called me up and said, hey, we're going to do an expo up in Kalispell. Do you want to come and ride a colt for the first time? I said, heck yeah, I do. So it's one of my passions is starting horses and putting first rides on them and working with them. So we've got a 5-year-old. Typically, you know, that's in some people's eyes a little bit old to start, but I love it because I think that 5-year-olds are a little bit more mature. You know, you can still start 2-year-olds, absolutely, but you can ask a little bit more of a 5-year-old, and they also can handle a little bit more as far as, you know, they're completely mature as far as their build. So that is my horse, Cody. We're going to be using him as well. I'm going to show you a lot of different techniques on getting her started. Just kind of let her kind of, you know, we're going to adapt as we go based on what is going to be best and most effective for her. But I will show you a couple techniques that I'll use my saddle horse for. He is actually a BLM Mustang out of Oregon. I've had him about 2.5 years. He was a 6-year-old. He was gathered as a 6-year-old. And he's my flavor. He's a good saddle horse because he's really tough and stoic. And he was really difficult to train, but he's good for this type of application when we're using him for, you know, in a small area with another horse. Not as much affects him as some of those other horses that are a little bit more worried. So, but anyway, that's Cody. If you have any questions about BLM adoption or anything, come see me. I also do a lot of starting. I do clinics all over most of the U.S. actually. I've flown all the way from Alaska and all the way down to Alabama. And so we're going to get going here. I'm going to kind of show you step by step kind of the things. I don't know this horse. I just met her. But I'm going to kind of go through a bunch of stuff that I do, including groundwork and even free lunging and liberty stuff that she wants me to scratch her butt, I think. We haven't even gone on our first date and you're already going there. So, but anyway, I really like already. If you have any questions too, please stop me. Yes. Thank you. How's that? I feel like Britney Spears, but a lot uglier. How's that? But then I'm going to breathe heavy and it's going to sound like Darth Vader. How's that? Then once I move around, I'm going to bump it. Just help me out. I'll do my best. If not, we'll get it adjusted. Okay. We're going to start everything from the ground up. So what I like to do, what I already like about this horse is she's pretty hooked on. You notice she's pretty she was tied up over there and she was pretty impatient and she was kind of pawing. She wants a job. She wants to do something. And so that is a huge plus to me because if I can start to connect with her, she's going to start to look for something to do, essentially. So I'm going to move her around just a little bit to start to build that connection. I like to do that at liberty and start to establish that body control. Body control with our horses is super important because first and foremost, if I can maneuver her around, I'm establishing a leadership role within that herd. That's how horses communicate. Okay, I don't care if they're a mule or a draft horses. It's so cool. You guys see those draft horses with the wagon? That was pretty cool. Or it's a Mustang, or it's an appendix, or an Arabian. They all are a herd animal, and they communicate with each other through body language, okay? And basically how that works is there's a pecking order, and within that pecking order, whoever's in charge of whoever, right, they establish the dominance and the herd hierarchy, okay? What I like to do with my horses and what I try to teach in my clinic is how we become that alpha, that leader, right, that head horse. But leadership is a lot different than dictatorship, okay? So within horsemanship, you have a lot of different techniques, and I'm not here to say that my way is the right way. It's a way, and I'm going to show you everything that I do. Take what works for you and apply that to you and your horse, and that is, if it's effective, I'm over here with my pom-poms and high kicks cheering you on, okay? The important thing is that you do it very confidently as a leader, okay? If we are confident in what we're doing, these guys thrive and crave. they really do well with that, okay, because that's how they're basically designed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with her in a way that she doesn't know me and I don't know her. We're going to establish some sort of a connection where I'm not being the dominant as a dictator, but I'm going to be the lead horse. Now, we've already seen she's kind of a little sassy at times, and that's okay. That doesn't mean she's a bad horse or she's trying to be mean. What happens is horses naturally will try to work their way up the pecking order. Okay? It's not, she's like, I'll train you. I'm going to chew on your halter here. I better get through this so that I can actually get, because she's ready to do something. So I'll start working her and I'll talk as I go. But basically, I'm just going to move her out just a little bit. Basically, horses, see there's a little sass. When she gets sassy, I'll put a little more pressure on. Horses basically want to work their way up that pecking order, not because they want to be mean. If she gets sassy, she's not like, I want to do it because she wants to be in charge. Basically, though, if she's the boss and it's naturally bred into them, if they're higher up on the pecking order, they get better feed, they get better breeding rights. It's just how they're designed. I'm not going to take offense because she wants to kick me and challenge what I'm asking her to do. Okay? Now, what I will do, though, is I want to push out that bad behavior. Now, bad behavior can be kicking, it can be spookiness, it can be whatever. It doesn't matter, right? If I want to push out a behavior, whether it's, let's call it an undesirable behavior, not necessarily a bad behavior. If I want to push out an undesirable behavior, what I'm going to do and what I've found is really effective is add pressure the second that they do that undesirable behavior. Okay? Now, here's where it gets tricky. Within horsemanship and with horse training, what a lot of people struggle with is timing and feel. Has anybody ever heard of that in the natural horsemanship world? Timing and feel, right? Everyone's like, oh, timing and feel. Oh, he's a good horseman. He's got good timing and feel. Well, what does that mean? Well, what we have to remember is when this horse is out in the pasture communicating, they've got pretty accurate timing and feel. And what I mean by that is when another horse challenges what it's trying to do, okay, it will apply pressure, if it's the dominant horse, to push out that behavior, or it'll submit when that horse, to kind of, depending on where it is in the herd, okay? You notice how she wants to kind of slow down, and I put a little pressure driving her forward, and she got a little bit sassy. So now, when we talk about our timing window, I have a 1 second window where when she does something sassy or she does something that I don't like, even fear, it can even be fear, you guys. It doesn't have to be something that's aggressive. Even fear. If your horse gets spooky and I back off of them, I'm encouraging that behavior. I'm releasing the pressure or the anxiety to that behavior. So when they get sassy or spooky or whatever the behavior is, if I hang in there or I actually apply a little more pressure, then that's communicating to the horse that I don't want them to do that. And that's where we start to build that connection and have that communication, okay? So, timing and feel. Now, let's talk about feel real quick. Feel basically is how much pressure do I apply that's enough pressure where she's going to take me serious, but then not too much pressure where she's going to get scared and terrified. That's another tricky part. And I have to learn how to adapt and adjust my pressure based on every single horse that I'm working with. Does that kind of make sense? So what a good horseman will go into a session with a horse, and if he goes in with an open mind and being able to adapt as the horse is responding, in my opinion, that's the best thing that I can do. If I go in with agenda and I'm going to say I'm going to do the exact same progression and repetition with every single horse, I'm not going to be as effective with my training with that horse. Okay, so real quick, what am I doing right here? I have a tiny little round pen. I like a small round pen because I'm a lot more intimate. You can poop and walk. I've done it plenty of times. You'd be surprised when you're in the woods. You'd be surprised when you're in the woods and something pops out and you hear a funny sound in the middle of the, when you're getting ready for hunting. You can poop and walk real quick. You'd be surprised. It can be done. I know. But anyway, so what I'm doing right here, it's real critical. Position is everything. Whether you're on the ground, working this horse in the round pen, I'm using a lead line and I'm doing my groundwork, or I'm in the saddle. Position is everything, okay? Already, I like this mare. I'm moving her around. Now, I'm not moving her around to get her tired. That's not the goal. I don't want to get her all lathered up and sweaty. She might be throughout this day. We don't know. But I'm just moving her around to establish a little bit of connection with her and a little bit of like, here's the deal. This is my round pen. I'm the boss. We're going to work together, right? I love that right there. You see what she gave me right there? She's trying to, actually, when we first started, she was trying to look to the outside a lot. See how she almost wants to kind of arc and get soft in those ribs? So my position's important. If you think about it, I'm in the same position right here as if I was be riding her, right? And we're doing a pretty nice trot right here. So let's see if we can. I don't know this horse. She doesn't know me. I don't know how much groundwork has been established, but let's try to start to build a connection because I'm going to ride her here in a little bit, and we got to build that connection. I'm going to bring her to a walk by sitting in my saddle. Sitting down in my saddle, just like that. Now, nothing is attached to her. Now, I don't want her to stop. I want her to just walk. So you see, my flag is representing my leg. Okay? So now I love that. She picked up on that energy. She picked up on that pressure, which in this case, it's not physical pressure. It's body language pressure, right? She picked up on that. Now she went down to a walk, right? And what I did is I just sat in my saddle. She's licking her lips. She's understanding what we're communicating to her. And that's the key, right? Communication, face it guys, communication is key in everything in life. If we have a lack of communication in our job, if we have a lack of communication in our relationships, if we have a lack of communication with our horse, we usually will get into trouble. Every single problem that's ever happened in my life usually comes back to a lack of communication. Well, communication, how many horses are here? I don't know. There's a whole bunch of them out there. Let's just listen for 1 second. How much do I hear birds? I hear that cute little baby. But I don't hear the horses talking, do we? If they're separated from each other, I'm going to slow her down to a walk right here. If they're separated from each other, yes, they'll whinny to each other, but right now, I guarantee you they're talking in those corrals. But they're talking through body language. That's how horses communicate. So the more that I can try to communicate like a horse would, the more effective I'm going to be as far as training her. Does that make sense? Look at those two right there. That black one and that pinto are having a discussion right now. I think the black one's in charge. Okay? So I'm just going to real quick go through a little bit of this. I'll do a direction change. And we're going to go back into a trot. I'm going to add leg. Right when she did what I asked, you notice I softened that leg. I softened that flag a little bit. If she was to bring that hip to me, see, I'm going to put that flag there. Timing and feel, that's what it's all about, right? If I want to bring her down, I'll do it right over here. I want to keep her going, I'm going to sit in my saddle. Bring her down to a walk. Good girl. You see, she feels that. You think of bringing that energy down, right? So now, what I'm also going to talk about real quick that's kind of important in our groundwork is instead of drawing her to me, which I used to do, and I've seen a lot of trainers and people do that. I want to talk really quickly. Instead of drawing her to me, I step in front of that drive line. When she gives me that second eye, I'll roll the pressure away, and I'll swing and push that hip. She goes forward, I'll put more pressure. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the disengage of that hind quarter. Okay? So I'll step in front. She gives me that second eye. I'll roll the energy. That's what I'm looking for. Now when she does the right thing, I do this. Get quiet. Get real relaxed. Okay? Another thing I've learned, whether it's a wild Mustang or a horse like this right here is good. This is not bad. I would like to see you guys do this. A lot of my wild Mustangs, they need lots of this, right? This is all good. But what I need to do in my training is I need to put that in a different category as not necessarily rewarding, but desensitizing. Well, let's talk about what I'm communicating to that horse. I'm the dominant one. I'm pushing you around. You're submissive. I'm the boss. Wait, now you're the boss. Push on me. Wait, now I'm the boss. You see how there's a conflict there? There's not a consistent, I'm the boss, right? You don't have to be mean. It's about being assertive, but also gentle and fair. Horses will tolerate a whole lot as long as you're fair. You have to be fair in your timing, and you have to be effective. But when I'm round penning this mare, I'm going to move her. I'm going to send her off. I'm going to switch directions. And watch how I tweak things. Instead of drawing her to me, as I'm moving her around, remember, I'm riding her. I'm right here behind her drive line, right here riding her. I'm not standing in the middle, flagging her. I'm pushing her with my energy. When I want to slow her down to a walk, I sit down in my saddle and I bring that energy down just like that. You see that? Now she's walking, isn't she? Okay, if she starts to come into me, I put a little inside leg on her just like that. Just enough so she listens. Now what I like about this mare, she's real feely. What I mean by feely is she's not just some, she responds well to light pressure. That's what I mean by feely. So as we're going around, I'm going to do that. Now instead of drawing her to and backing up, I just cut her off. And when she thinks about looking at me, what I'll do is I'll roll that energy away. She's a little distracted right now, so I'll just push her forward again. We'll try again. Okay? But what I'm looking for, I'm going to do it right here. I'll cut her off. If she looks at me, I take the pressure away. But see, I never backed up. And then I went over here to push that hip around. You see how I did that? Now let's put it into full motion. It's a dance. I suck at dancing. My daughter, she's amazing at dancing. She does everything. She tries to get, hey, Dad, let's do it. Oh, man, it's bad. Anyway. But I'm okay at dancing with a horse because I've done it so much. So again, if we want to do a direction change, we're going to cut her off. Turn, push the hip. Now right here, look, I switch my flag, and then I'll send her that way. You watch my feet. Let me do it again, and I'll do it slow motion. Watch my feet. Do my feet ever take a step back or go on my heels? I'm going to step. No, they turned, push the hip. Good girl. Nice, disengage there. Then I'll cross over, push. She's going back. Move your shoulder. Good girl. Now move your ribs forward. You see how we did that? My feet never took a step back. All right, now we're going to just do some quick groundwork. We're going to work on getting her saddled. Now, Alexis, what would you say would be her, you said her feet. She's a little bit waspy about her feet, right? Okay, that's good. Feet and what? Flank. Okay, so she don't like, so we might need to move that camera because when we go to kind of work with her a little bit, there's a pretty good chance she's going to buck. But we got to learn how, we got to teach her, and she's got to learn how to be desensitized and accept that, but also break it down for her and reward the small try. You give me a little try, I'm going to give you a reward. We're going to give you a break, okay? That's real important. Okay, so we're going to go through our groundwork, and I'm just going to basically work on my groundwork. Continuing to build on that foundation of moving her feet. And I'm going to buzz through these pretty fast. If you guys have any question as I go through them, just shout out, say it, or raise your hand, and we'll talk about it because this is educational. I want to, if I'm looking to build this horse's respect, what's a great thing I can do, right? Because she showed it, not bad though. I've seen a lot worse, but she's shown just a little hint of sassiness or disrespect. Now, we haven't really pushed her hard either, right? But she's shown just a little bit. So what's a good way I can get my balance? I want two components in leadership. I want the horse to trust me, but then also respect me. And I want 50-50, right? We don't want 60-40. We don't want her being more trusting and less respectful. And we don't want her being afraid, more respectful and less trusting. We want a good balance, 50-50. Now here's the tricky part. You have a horse and she's disrespectful. You get after her a little bit. You say, nope, that's not what you can do. I need to get after you. I need to assert my dominance a little bit more. Sometimes that puts a little fear into them. And then we got to go back and we got to shift it the other way. And we got to keep that nice, even balance, 50-50. Trust, respect. Then they're going to look to us for that leadership, okay? So a great way that I can work on softening her up and getting her more respectful is just backing her up. A great way, there's 3 ways I like to do it. First way is just wiggle this rope. That's a good cue. Now, you can look at her eye and her ears when I ask her to do that. She does it. Do we all agree? She does it. And she does it pretty soft. But she looks about as happy as a wet cat. Right? She's turning her head that way, and I'll bump her a little, say, don't do that. Let's just be quiet about it. That was a lot softer, okay? So what I like to do is I like to always reward the tiniest try, but when they give me a better try or a more respectful try, I'll quit on them, okay? So we'll try again. See, she didn't quite give me 2 eyes there. And every time she takes a step, I pause. Every time she takes a step, I pause. That's not bad. I'll quit on her right there because she gave me the best one. Now, Alexis, you've done a good job there. I've been on some of these horses. You've done a good job. So I'm here to, let you know, good job, Yep, because she's nice and soft. Look how light and soft she is. You've done extensive groundwork, which makes my job and her job easier for the first ride. Okay? Got to itch? We'll let her itch. It's all that mud she's been rolling in. Thank you for getting her cleaned up. Holy cow, you should have seen that. Now, you guys see what's on her legs? Poor Alexis. She went to walk her in here. This whole horse's body looked like that. No joke. She was over there for 20 minutes trying to get all that up. 30 minutes probably. Okay? Second way I want to back her up is right here. Using this halter pressure. I grab onto this halter knot, put pressure on her. Now, she broke at the pole nice, but what happened is she got stuck right about here with that energy. I gave her that pressure, it went up, and it didn't go right to her feet. I like how she broke at the pole. What I mean by broke at the pole is she got vertical, and she got soft in the face, but she didn't necessarily get light in her feet. So I'm going to back there. That was better, and that was better, and that was better. Now, you notice every time that she moves, I soften this pressure. That's the key. Timing is important to apply within that 1 second window when the horse does the wrong thing, but then to coax, you're going to hear me talk about a lot, pushing out the bad or undesirable behavior. How do we coax out the good behavior? Well, when that horse does the right thing, within that 1 second window, I need to soften my cue or soften my pressure. The third one is another one I really like, but this is the toughest one. We're going to walk forward, and I'm going to ease into her space. Now, you know what? That was just about textbook. A lot of times, horses, when you ease into their space, they'll even push back on you a little bit. Sometimes not, but some of them will. Well, in that case, I'm going to use my elbow right here to say, no, this is my space. But if I ease into her space, well, if I can touch her, I'm just going to softly bump her. I'm going to ease into your space. You got to get out of my way. Just like that. Notice when she backs up, I pause. Okay? See, now, where's all my pressure really going? Towards you guys, isn't it? So this is the hardest one. But this sometimes will save you from getting trampled. Now, if she's going to get spooked from behind, she's a lot likely to go around me than run over the top of me. So not only is this a safety thing, this is a good, respectful. See, I just ease into her space. See, right when she gets out of my way, I just pause. See? And I don't want to use the rope. So what we've done there is we used the rope, we've used her halter pressure, and I've used my body, those 3 exercises, to earn some respect. Okay? So, don't be hitting your head on either side of that big old door out there, but you've done a good job. Don't get too big of a head, though. I will tell you, I know, yeah. I will tell you there's a fine line between confidence and cockiness. I've learned the hard way a couple times. Don't be cocky. You're going to get humbled by these rascals really fast. But be confident. There's a difference. Confidence and cockiness is totally different. Okay? All right. Okay, we're going to move our shoulders. We're going to move our hindquarter. We're going to side pass. We're going to teach this horse the buttons before we get on him and ride him. Yes? Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's back. Yeah, absolutely. Her question is you don't want to do too much backing because then they just go backwards. 100%. And in fact, on her first ride, I will not back her. All right. Now we're going to work on everything. Moving the shoulders. There. That was pretty nice. You see how she got out of the way there? And I'm just going to, it's body control. That's all I'm doing. Move that shoulder out of my way. You see, that time she crowded me, didn't she? You guys see that? So when she crowds me, I'm going to reach up and tap her. Notice I'm pressuring her. Move that shoulder out of my way. That was better. Now go forward. She's a little bit more bracy on this right side. That's something I need to be aware of. Watch this. Let's see if she does better this time. Much better. What a nice mare. I'm going to let her think about that right there. Just kind of leave her alone for a sec. Because we're working on refinement. You've done a great job. She knows it. But now, you know what? We don't just stop at kindergarten. We got to keep refining. You know, we're going to teach the basics, And then we're going to go on from there. Okay, move your shoulder. Good girl. Now, it's real important as we go around. Again, my lead rope represents my rein if I was riding. My flag represents my leg. Notice I'm going to squeeze and push her into that trot. Right there. See that? See how she was a little dull and a little slow to respond there, right? So we're going to work on that as far as refinement. Now, I want to start to get a little more connected. We've already done it without the lead line. Now we're going to do it with. When I sit in my saddle, I'm going to sit in my saddle and lift my rope. See? Lift my rein softly. You see how she come right down to a walk? Now let's try a trot again. You see how delayed she is? So what that's telling me is I've tried it 2 times and I've gotten no change. It's no better, is it? So now that's telling me I need to up my pressure. When we do the exact same thing, expecting a different result, what's that called? That's right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to work on that. I'm going to bring her down. I'm going to get her to take me a little more serious. I'm going to ask her, go. See? I gave her a swift little kick. I said enough is enough. I gave her a chance before I got after her though, didn't I? So now let's bring her back down. Let's see if there's a change. Much better. You see that? And that's where we kind of say, yep, I'm going to quit on you right there. And let you think about that. There's a lick in the lips. You see that? Now we leave it alone. We move on. We're going to teach her to get off a leg. So this is fairly simple. We're going to use her cue to move her shoulders over. 1 step pause. That's all I'm going to ask for. 1 step pause. I'm not going to ask a ton. I'm not going to ask her to do a reining spin. I just want her to softly move off of my cue and my pressure. I like that one. That one she even crossed over, so that's even better. You're going to hear me talk a lot about taking a victory lap. Or I was doing a clinic last weekend and the girl's like, I like to call it a friendship walk. And I was like, I kind of like that, you know. I call it a victory lap, but so we started calling it a friendship walk. Oh, we're just going to go be friendship, you know. So there's our shoulder. We want to do a side pass right here. Now you see she's a little goosey. She don't like really being touched right here. So as she gets busy and moving, what am I doing? Rubbing her. When she gets quiet, I get quiet. So that proves you that petting this horse is not always rewarding her. Right? So then I'm going to cue her. Right there, I'm going to soften. She gets a little bit busy, I'll rub her, and then I'll pause. Then I'll get out of there. You're going to see horses a lot of times when we give the pause and we reward the cue, they'll try to move us out of position. Stay with them and then release once they get quiet. So what I mean is I'll get in a position, I might even, this time I'll switch it up. I'll come into position and not cue her. I'll just walk out of there. Right? Because we don't want our horses thinking every time I walk over by her girth area, she needs to move away. It's only a direct cue where you need to move away. Okay? And I want you to get quiet about that. Think about pressure as more of support, right? When I have that calf on you, it's not a punishment. It's just telling you need to move off that leg. Right? Does that make sense? Let's try this right side. So I'm going to pet her. See right there, she's anticipating. You guys see that? As I started to get my rope ready, she anticipated. So I'm just going to pet her and hang out. Let her get quiet for a minute. Now I'll cue her. Good girl. Then I'll pause. Let her get quiet again. Then I'll leave her before she wants to leave me. I had a little bit of an advantage there because the panel was there. So she couldn't have moved out. You know, she could have moved out, but that wasn't bad. And the last one we want to do is our hind quarter. I'm going to lift this rein and push that hip over. Good girl. Good girl. You see how she pivoted pretty nicely there on the front end? I'm going to lift this rein and push that pressure. Now it's important that I'm not pulling her face. I'm picking up this rein and I'm holding her shoulder from falling. If I start pulling her face, that's going to cause her shoulder to fall. I don't really want that. I want to lift this rein and block it and push that hip. You see how she pivoted really nice? Now, you see how she wants to get me out of position there. So I'll just come in here, wait. Come in here, wait. Let her get quiet. Then I'll leave her. So what I want to do is just work on this right here. Again, Alexis, I can't say good enough. You've done a great job. She understands what that is. That's half the battle. Okay? Let's see how she is with her ears. Pretty darn good. You know, you get a little wiggy horse, then we're going to work on that a little bit. But right there, she did real good. So what am I going to do? I'll just get out of her and let her think about that. Give her a little bit of a release, a little micro release to say, you did good, right? Communication works. This is a new thing, right? So then, another thing that I like to do to prepare him. Again, anything that we do with our horse, preparation is everything. I grab this little halter knot right here. I use my left hand. I come down over her muzzle, and I slide it right inside the corner of her mouth. You can't get bit right there, okay? If you go farther back, you can get bit. If you go further forward, you can get bit. And I just kind of rub real gently the roof of her mouth. Now, that's a great thing to do for worming a horse, for getting them ready for a bit, for anything. The reason I have this halter right here so I can control her head a little better, and I can block her if she starts to get all thrashy. I can keep her from knocking me out with this 35 pounds. She's got a big old head. You know, 35-pound sledgehammer, right? Then I work towards getting it in there, and I'll work up underneath her gums. And I'll come up underneath her gums, and I'll just gently start rubbing back and forth about where her canines come down. And there's 2 pressure points there. There she goes. There she goes. She goes, I like that. At first she's like, wow, that's invasive. Wow, I don't like that. Well, I don't blame you. I hate the dentist. Right? But we're basically showing her a positive experience. When she gets quiet, I get out of there. You notice how at first she's like, but then she started to get quiet. I got out of there when she got quiet. And look at her put her head down. She's like, that feels pretty good. That's not so bad. So we're giving a horse a positive experience. You know, think about it. We go to worm them. Some of that stuff I don't think tastes good. Or, you know, they get a little bit weird about it. And then they start to pull away. And then we're not going to worm them. We'll use the tablets. Well, I've just turned that horse's bad habit into I'm not going to allow you to worm me anymore. Okay? Because we gave him a release. We just got to break it. Look how relaxed she is right now. Her head's on the ground. She's a peanut pusher. Right? All right? So then once I've done that, this muzzle too, I'm looking for any kind of reaction or anything that might get her a little bit watchy. And she's doing real good. So once I've done that, then what I'll do is I'll come up over the top in between the ears with my right hand. Okay? And then I'll come up and I'll just feed this over just like that. And I'll kick it to one side so it's not bugging her eye. And I'll just ease my thumb right inside. And I'll just ease it on right there with my right hand. Now I love that sweetheart. You see, that was pretty undramatic for the first time putting a snaffle bit in her mouth. And you see how she dropped her head? When she dropped her head, she can just spit it right out. Ooh, she kind of liked it. She kind of held on to it for just a second. And then we'll go take our victory lap. We'll go take our friendship walk. We'll say, see, that's all I was asking. So you should notice, it wasn't a big deal. The first bridling could have been a big deal in a big fight. But because I broke it down, she's like okay with it. And that's hopefully how the rest of this today goes. First saddling, first all of it, right? Okay, let's try again. I'm just going to ease it in there. She's like, wow, that tastes pretty good. I like that copper and that sweet iron. Okay? And then I'm just going to real gentle put it over one ear and put it over the other ear. Make sure it's not hitting her in the eye. Now this is a little bit big for her, so we'll just kind of get it adjusted. You look good all tacked up there, sis. And people often ask me, well, how tight do you want to make it? I don't care. I'm not putting any I don't want it falling out of her mouth and I don't want it gagging her, but I'm not putting any pressure on it. I want her to explore it. Put her tongue over it, put her tongue under it, check it out, pick it up and carry it. Ideally, I want her to eventually learn how to pick it up and carry it. So we'll just kind of leave her like that. I'm going to take that bridle off. We gave her a good positive first experience with that. We're going to soak it. Now it's pretty important, see how she's a little goosey about it already. It's pretty important when I do this, I like to have this ring right about where your breast collar would hold up, right about there, so that I can get a good release when she when she stops bucking. If she doesn't buck, that's okay. So I'm going to cinch her up right there. And just hold that pressure and let her buck. Hold that pressure. And right there, we'll soften. Move her forward. You see right there, she kind of went a little bit into freeze mode. She kind of locked up, right? And then we're going to disengage and let her think about that for just a sec. So she's not trying to be a bad horse. She's not trying to be naughty. She's just saying, woo, that's a little bit weird. I got to get that off. We're just going to teach her that's not what we're looking for. Okay? Look at all the people coming once we get the horse bucking. All right, here we go. Okay, much better, much better. Not near as bad, was it? Again, cinch her up. And that's what we're looking for right there. There is no doubt, I'm going to let her lick and chew. There is no doubt she understood what the right answer was because of the accuracy and the timing of the release. I can't stress that enough. Don't go home, get in a big giant arena, cinch up your horse, and your horse drags you through the arena bucking, and then you let go of that white rope, and you just created her to buck. It was the timing. Also, if you noticed, when she was bucking around, I was trying not to let slack go. Little micro releases as she was bucking. I was trying to stay with her with the same pressure. When she started to soften, I started to soften. That's important. If you let a bunch of slack go, that's a little tiny micro release, and it's not as effective. Okay? Now we're going to get her used to that back cinch, right about there, okay? Oh, she stepped through it. Just a sec. Well, that's too far back. I just want to get her used to a back cinch. So we're going to go right about there. Watch yourself. Watch that camera. Watch that camera. Stay with her. Stay with her. She's only got so many bucks in the tank. Right about there, I'll soften a little bit, soften a little bit, soften a little bit. Disengage and give her that release. Good girl. I'll let her lick and chew for a sec. Give her some time to kind of take all that in. Again, she's holding on to that. Let's watch her real quick. She's holding on to that. She's like a little angry emo kid right now. We got to there it is. See that? Right there will walk. So she had to let that go. We don't want to just keep rushing her. Now this horse doesn't have a super high freeze mode. You understand what I mean about freeze mode? Has anybody heard that? You have 3 modes: fight, flight, or freeze. Freeze mode can be difficult because that's where they kind of lock up and shut down and get real tight. She's pretty honest. Freeze mode horses are tough because you'll think they're fine and they're not. They're holding on to that. Okay? But she's pretty honest. We're going to do it again. You ready? Let's see if she does any better. Much better. Huge improvement. Soften that rope right there. Let her think about that one. So you see, if our timing is accurate, you see right before your eyes how it gets a little bit better. And she's learning bucking's a lot of work. And I'm not going to get a release with it. Right? I'm going to get a release when I get quiet and I accept it. She's also a little bit worried about even when I come in here and rub on her a little bit. Send her out again. Let her feel it. Huge improvement. Huge improvement. And soften right there. Right there's where I quit on her. You got me? Let's let her think again. Okay? Now, I've had the question asked, well, Matt, you were going to the left. Do you need to turn around and then go to the right? We all understand a horse has 2 sides, right? Right brain, left brain. In my experience, I don't see an advantage of it because if you think about it, we got that claustrophobic thing. We're going around the whole horse. It's not like I'm using a flag just on one side. We're going all the way around. So personally, I have not seen an advantage going both sides. Personally, I always go to the left just because of I control the flank with my right hand. It's just how I do it. There's nothing to be said. You can't control the rope with the halter with your right hand and control the flank with your left hand. Whatever's more comfortable, but I do not see an advantage of doing both sides. That's where I want to quit on her. We're going to give her a second. Now you notice how she's kind of letting all that adrenaline go. That's good. Here's another thing. I do want to make sure, easy sis, easy. I do want to make sure that this horse, 2 things. I want to make sure that she's not constantly worked up, but it's all about a balance, right? We want to make sure that she's not constantly worked up and stressed out the whole time, but we also don't want to put her in a glass vase. right? It's got to be a balance. If I put her in a glass vase, I'm just going to take a couple laps with her. If I put her in a glass vase, it's only a matter of time. It's not if, it's when something's going to get her upset. I have to figure out ways to be able to put my horses and make them a little uncomfortable, but then also support them through it. If I never do that, if I always keep them in a glass vase, they're going to come unglued and it's going to fall apart real fast if they think everything is a perfect world. I will tell you guys, it's not a perfect world. Horse training is not all bunny rabbits and rainbows and clickers and buoys. Sorry, threw that clicker training thing in there. I'm just saying it has its moments, right? It definitely, we got to keep it balanced. At the same token, I don't want to come in here and just sack her out and flag her and soak her and get her so shut down that she's not willing to work with me. That's the flip side of it. I got to have a balance. We got to have, you know, quietness, and then we also got to have where you get a little upset and excited. Okay. Now I'm going to get, I'm going to get a little bit man bun and kale on you. Okay? We're going to work on just getting her backed, right? And getting her comfortable with me on her back without the saddle on her. Okay? And so what I'm doing is I'm getting in a very, very, very what do you call it? Kind of vulnerable spot for a horse, because you think about it, this is a predator going to attack her, right? So that's what we're kind of doing, but we're also building some trust. Look at the worry in her eye. So I'm trying to get in there, but if you notice, I get in there, I kind of wait till she can handle a little bit, but then I pull back. So it's a lot of approach and then retreat, and then I move her feet in between so she doesn't go into that shutdown. And I'll just do it step by step, but we'll do it pretty fast. See how quiet? She's a lot more engaging right there. So we'll give her a release right there. And then we're just going to kind of build a little bit more on everything that we do. Now, she's a big mare. So, see, she's pretty good about that. Then I'll just kind of bump into her. And then we'll take a walk. See, as I did that, her head kind of came up just a little bit. And I'm just kind of having to feel her out. See how she's a little worried about that? But I want to get out of there before she wants to get out of there. Hang in there. Get out of there, take a walk. See, she wanted to go. She wanted to leave. Did I get this bumped? We still good? But we're just going step by step. And I want to stay real relaxed. If she moves her feet, I'll just stay with her. Real relaxed. And then I'm just going to kind of work my way like this. And just lay on her. Just like that. Oh, I lost my gum. Just part of the desensitizing. Now you notice, where are my hands? My hands are right on her jugular. When she gets a little bit quiet, I'm just going to come down and just step away. And you can see she's like, wait a second, where are you going? Anybody want? That's probably worth about 20 bucks. You can see, it's the first time we got on her back. I don't know if you've done any of that. Okay, well that was good then. That was real good. You see how I progressively got to that point though, with those micro releases in between. We didn't just jump on her back. We asked for this threshold, and then we went to this threshold by breaking down the steps. Okay. We're going to work on her feet just a little bit. Moving her around. If you're ever working horses off of your saddle horse, same deal. Try to not back your saddle horse away from the horse you're working. When you do that, you're basically causing that horse to be a little bit more submissive to the horse you're working, then you're going to have a little bit more trouble. So I'm moving her around, and we're just going to kind of test the waters a little bit, if you will. Okay? I'm going to step in front, just like we were doing. Just like we were doing. You see how she's not really there. And then we'll roll around, and we'll do the same thing I was doing on the ground. She's got two choices right now. When we put that pressure on her, she can yield that hip, or she can go forward. She goes forward, we'll push her. And we'll do that same thing. I'll step in front. There you go. There you go. See how we drew her right to us? Now we'll go around, we'll push. There you go. Okay? Instead of backing him up, I'll roll his shoulder. We'll go this way. And now we'll push her off this way. And we'll start working those feet. She's actually a little bit more goosey, working from the ground than she is working from the saddle horse. She's actually a lot more, which is good. Alexis, do you want to ride your mare today? If you can, all right. Well, we might be able to make that happen. Do you want to be the one to put the first ride on her? Okay. Boy, did you see how quick that, boy, I about got shot with that finger. And you know what? That is music to my ears. That was music to my ears. I love riding colts, so it don't hurt my feelings one bit. So I'm just tossing this rope at her a little bit, seeing if she's going to get a little waspy about that rope touching her feet, or she's going to be able to handle it. That's pretty dang good. I'll let her get out of it right there. Because you notice she did kind of move out a little bit, but she didn't kick, she didn't panic, so I'll let her walk right out of that. I sure like that. When I grabbed those hind feet, she said, nope. And this is, again, what we're doing here is we're breaking down each step, right? We're not just grabbing her hind foot and ripping her stifles out of her, right? We're letting her kind of understand what we're doing. Having a little feel, having a little finesse with it. You guys are like, I'm here to see the cowboy stuff. Well, I'll tell you right now, I ain't a cowboy. I don't even own a cowboy hat. I picked up at my buddy's rodeo, and he had to loan me a hat because it's rules. You got to have a cowboy hat when you're picking up. So I like what I see. I like that she's pretty quiet about, that rope coming down to her feet. She's a little bit more, stopped a little bit more on that front foot than on the back. Have you hobble trained her yet? Do you have any desire to? Okay, we can talk about that and even work on it a little bit. I'm going to switch directions. Boy, she's a nice mare. What a good mind. Hey. Hey. We're going to pack her. We got to get her used to that britching, don't we? Right now, she's a little goosey about it. So you notice what I see how she's kind of grabbing her butt and scooching forward. So I'm keeping that light pressure on her. Just keep that pressure on her. Keep it on her. Right there. She got a little quiet, so I'll get out of there. Good girl. We'll kind of get her we'll get her in a little bit of a bind right here. See how she handles that. I will say, you definitely need to have a pretty broke. Don't go home and get your horse that's not real broke as a saddle horse. You can get yourself into a pretty good wreck, especially with these ropes. But I will say, if you get her into a little bit of a bind, see if she can't work herself out of that. Good girl. Good girl. I love this horse's mind. Boy, she's nice. I'm just looking for her to kind of, you know, if she was ever to get tangled up in wire or something, how can she deal with that? Can she deal with that? Right? And she's starting to figure out. You know, we've got some more work to do, obviously. I'm going to stop her right there. Atta girl. See, we got an abrupt stop right there. We said, hey, come here. And I wanted to see if she got panicky to that too. Pretty nice little spin right there. Not bad. Good girl. Good girl. I'm going to give her just a second to kind of let all that just relax a little bit. Boy, you got a nice mare. You got a nice mare. And she's big. She's big. I like her. You notice though what I'm doing, who's pushing who? If anybody's going backwards, who's going backwards? She is, right? She's constantly trying to move out of our way versus the other way around. We're not yielding. See, she's going back there. Now we'll start working her feet a little bit. She gets a little kicky, we'll kind of work on that a little bit. Let her kind of work her way through that. I will slip her a little rope there. She gave to it. We'll kind of say, okay, now move out. She's more kicky than she is kind of bracy to giving to it, but you ought to be able to, all my horses, I like to be able to stop them on a hind foot. They need to learn to give to that pressure, or front foot at that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Good girl. I love that. See how she didn't panic and pull on it? Whoa, whoa, whoa. She gets a little kicky. I'll just kind of stay with her. Don't kick those panels. Heads up. We got the splash zone. Oh, you're lucky she got quiet right there. You're about to get it, Chloe. I like what I'm seeing, Alexis. I'm going to let her walk right out of that. That was pretty good. Good girl. I really like what I'm seeing. And it's like anything. She don't like being handled, her feet being handled. The more we handle them, the better she's going to get. That's all there is to it. Personally, I don't like handling horses' feet. I'm more scared about getting kicked than I am about getting bucked off, to be honest with you. A lot of times it's the worst, getting kicked. Back to this though. See, I'll come down right here. This direction, come down, look it, good girl. Pick it up, when she's soft, set it down. That's the one threshold, right? Oh, she gets out of there, I just stay with her. See, I just start petting her. Don't you leave me before I leave you. Just keep petting her, keep petting her. I'm in position. There, when you get quiet, I'll leave you. Make sense? When she starts spinning out and saying, I'm getting out of here, no, that's your terms. That's allowing her, right? So I'll come back here and I'll just hang out, work my way down, pick up her foot. Good girl. Then I can work back here. That's a good one. Give it back to her. Give her a release. Okay, I like it. Questions on feet. Now you say, well, how come you didn't rope all four? Well, that's a start. I did one. then we'll soak it, put it on the shelf, and we'll come back and do the other ones maybe another time. You know, or just sometimes there, look at that. Hell, what are you talking about? She's great with her feet. I like to use two different lengths on my flag. This one's going to be for groundwork. This one will be for desensitizing. It's just a little bit longer. Same deal. I got to get her used to being able to toss a saddle pad up there, right? So I'm just going to kind of, when she gets quiet, that's when we get out of there. So desensitizing is tricky too, right? If we don't release at the correct time with our desensitizing, we're just going to get them more scared. If she gets offended and shies away from this flag and I pull the pressure or the anxiety in this case away at that moment, then she's just going to learn to get scared of that flag, right? So I stay in there. When you tolerated that much, I'll pull it away, okay? Another thing, when I'm desensitizing this right side, think about, you guys ever seen a line back done? Try not to put your flag over that line. Because what happens is she'll catch it with that eye, and then where's she going to spook to? Right on top of me. So work one side at a time. The reason I like this length is, you know, we'll kind of go and work these feet too. We'll even get up in this flank. Oh, you don't like your boo-boos touched. That's all right. We're on a second date. Good. You see, she didn't like that, but did I get out of there right away? I say, no, let's just tolerate it there. When you get quiet, you bet I'll get out of there. Right? We're not hurting her. We're just desensitizing her. And think about it this way. When she's going up and getting worried like this, that's not the time to pull that flag away. When she starts to react less and think more and starts to come down, that's where we want to kind of melt that anxiety away. It's real important. It's not about just sometimes people say, well, I'm just going to tie bags and flags all over her stall. She'll get used to it. Yes, but think about it. She's not getting a release. She's just getting over it, tolerating it. She's not actually learning. It's not about the flag. It's about her learning to cope with something that makes her uncomfortable. That's the key, okay? But if I go to put that saddle pad on, I need to kind of see how she's doing, right? And just go through these little motions. Okay. Now we're going to do the saddle pad. You notice, am I going beyond that? Am I going beyond that line? No. I'm staying on one side. I break down every step. Then I'll stay on one side on this side. She's a little more watchy on this right side. So see, she gets worried. I just stay with her. Just stay with her till she understands I'm not going to hurt you. Stay with her. Right about there. Now, she's not totally calm about it, but she's not getting startled. So we'll pull back and let her think about it for a sec. And give her, there's a lick and chew. See? Gotta let her kind of take all that in. There, you see the change there? You see how much better that was? Huge. So now, this tells me something though. This is real important. This mare's more watchy on the right side than the left side. So when we go to put the first ride on her, I'm only going to let her see me out of the left eye. And then we're going to work towards the right. This is all information that I'm taking in for our first ride, okay? If she was more watchy on the left side, we would go on the right side first, okay? Now, because she's more watchy on the right side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this pad over so she catches it in the left eye instead of the other way, because it's a little bit easier for her. Good. Because this is her worst side. Bring it all the way up, over, and then we're going to kind of push that, just like pushing a cow. Push that. You don't need to be afraid of it. You can push it. Chase that bag or that pad. Okay. Now without the pad, we're going to work on saddling her. Without the pad. I'd like to throw it up there without the pad so I don't have too much going on. I also like to bring that stirrup on this side. And what I do is I come up high on the neck and work it back. She tolerated that pretty darn good. You got to be careful this don't flop and hit her on the belly on that right side, because then that can spook her. But she did that pretty good. So I'm happy about that. That was kind of the gauge. Will she tolerate just a lot more? We got a rope, we got stirrups, we got hobbles on there, we got everything. We'll go ahead and put this on this side now. Now she's catching it with that right eye. But we're going step by step. And you see I'm kind of going with some momentum. I'm giving her micro releases, but we're still rolling with everything. We're not tiptoeing or going too slow, but then we're also not going too fast where we don't give her those micro releases. She's a little bit worried about it, but she's doing great. Now you're probably going to ask, what the heck you got going on there, Matt? You got 2 front cinches instead of a back cinch there. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Okay, when I go to cinch her up, what I do is I stand just like this instead of like this. You got a pretty waspy horse, you go to reach under like that, they may cow kick you in the face. Right here, I can also hold her halter and just get a little bit more control of her if I need to, okay? I also come down and I kind of let her feel that a little bit. Rub her cinch area right there. Just kind of prepare her. And then I'll come down and I'll grab that. You see, I'm in a good spot. If she was to get too waspy, I'll let her feel that, right? But I'm not really turning my back on her. Let her feel that. There, when she gets quiet, I'll give her a little soak. Then I'll even go to this. I'll even pull down and pull up. Let her feel that, because now she's feeling the bar of that saddle. Just like that, okay? Once I do those couple steps, then I'm committed, and now I'm going to go ahead and cinch her up. So now we're going to move her around a little bit. And just support her. A little bit of buck, and I'm also going to shut her down if I need to, and I'll break her loose. See, right here, she's just real tight. We just got to break her loose. Go back to the hind quarter. Go back to the hind quarter. Once she gets broke loose, then we'll go back forward. There we go. We're going forward now. I just got to get her broke loose where she's not so humpy and she's starting to accept it more. Good girl. Now I'm going to go back to pushing on her. Move out. Move out. When you push on her is when she starts to get a little bit more worried. That's when she starts to get just a little bit more worried. Atta girl. There's a free. She's freeing up there. A lot better. That's where she kind of wants to hump around. And she's big. She's big and athletic, boy. She's got a lot of power. There you go. The idea is Cody's my leg, right? When I go to ride her, Cody is the leg. Cody's pushing her ribs forward. And I'm driving her also a little bit with this back. There's a lope, a couple strides of a lope. With this rope, just kind of driving her forward. Pushing her forward. When I sit down, I say stop. You need to come over here. Good girl. Good girl. There's a lick in her lips. So when I start to pick up on that halter, sometimes you do that abruptly like that, and they'll kind of get a little bit waspy on you. And if you guys see, that back cinch is probably just as tight as that front cinch. Good girl. Good girl. Does anybody have any questions on any of this? We all doing good? Okay, I'm about just almost ready to ride her. We're just going to work her a little bit more. 2 more things I want to kind of work on is just freeing her up a little bit more. And then we want to try to desensitize just a little bit more. Hey, 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 hey. Come on, Mom. Get her freed up a little bit. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. My pad's a little thick too. My pad's just a little thick. That's a big mare. Usually, you know, you have a lot thinner horse. You know, the bigger, she looks all good tacked up there. The bigger the horse, or I should say the better your saddle fits, the thinner the pad you need. But we're just gonna kind of go with it. Okay, here's what we're gonna do now. Oh geez, come on, Matt. If I could learn how to rope, I'll just cheat. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do now. When I go to shift my weight in that saddle, I wanna make sure she can tolerate that with the bars on her back. So here's a great technique you can do. When you go to shift that weight, and I go, those bars are gonna kind of move her back a little bit. So I'm gonna let her feel that right now and see if that kind of triggers anything. Hell, we're getting her ready to drag calves to the fire. Look at that. She's standing and holding that. Let's soften right there. Good girl. That usually will trigger a buck. I like that, Alexis. I like that a lot. Good job. Good mare. She's got a good mind, boy. And by golly, I bet you she outweighs Cody, and that's not very many horses. We might need to tighten up this cinch a little. All right, come on, sis. Hey, 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 hey. I want to trigger anything that might trigger something. We're going to get her ready to ride a croup. You know, your goal is to basically ride her in the mountains, right? That's your goal. Well, you're more than likely going to grab or have a string of mules behind you or something. We got to get her ready for that lead rope going under her butt, make her a good solid saddle horse. So that's what we're doing right here. Let her feel that. That lead rope goes under, we're going to stay with her. Hey, 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 move out. There, she gets quiet. She starts to relax. What a good mare. Then that rope goes away. Also, Alexis, not if, when you ride her here in just a little bit, after I ride her, because that was the deal, right? We're also getting her used to Cody. So I'm going to be in here your support, right? I'm going to be in here helping you out. Come on, Mom. She's so buddied up to him, she don't want to move. I like how she's not pushing past him right there. There's a couple more in there, but not many. Same deal. When she starts to quiet down, that's where we'll start to soften that rope, right about there. Good girl. I love how she kind of checked in right there. She kind of checked in with us. Said, hey, help me out. I said, you bet I will. Look at that right there. Good girl. She's like, that bucking's a lot of work. Good girl. Ooh. All right, here we go. What I'm going to do is work a little bit on our lateral flexion. She's pretty feely, so I don't think, I mean, you can ride with spurs, but I don't think she really needs it. I'm going to work on a little, you good? Yeah, we're just about there. I'm going to put a first ride and then we're going to soak. What time is it? Oh, really? Dang, time flies when you're having fun. Little lateral flexion. She's a little waspy right here. Just kind of stand up. Let her kind of feel that weight a little bit, that bar. Let her get quiet. She's a little bit waspy with that lateral flexion, so I'm just going to kind of hang in there. It's not a good spot up against the fence here, but I'm going to step down because she got quiet right there. And give her that micro release. Get to a better spot. When she humps up, she just gets a little bit tight there, so tighten that up just a little bit. When I do tighten anything, any part of that cinch, I like to move them around just a little bit. Work on this lateral flexion again. So I'd say that's our biggest hole so far. In our groundwork is a little bit more lateral flexion. Might be a little bit more, you know, get her a little bit more soft and understanding it. So we're going to take just a little time here. What I'm doing is I'm staying with her, right? Until she softens. So I'm maintaining that pressure and we're just going to hang with her. The more I move her feet with this saddle, the better. But watch, right when she gets quiet, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to give her a micro release. Right there. Right when she got quiet, I gave her that much. I said, that's where I need your head, but I need it there quiet. Now we'll step forward and we'll try again. Good girl. So now let's see. She's such a good, see the difference? Good girl. You better watch out there, bay horse. Yeah, Cody don't like it either. Okay. Come up, let her feel us, sit down. I really don't want her seeing me out of that right eye. I'm just going to break loose, not using my right foot. I'm just breaking loose the hind quarter, using my left foot. And I'm not pulling her face, I'm more pushing her hip. Good girl. I really don't want to push her face. Woo. I really don't want to. Stand your ground, Cody. Be a saddle horse. I really don't want to pull her face. I more want to push her hip. Break her loose. Keep that calf on her. Now what I'm looking for is when I want to stop her, I'll do it right here so you guys can see. I sit down, take that leg off, and I say, just give me that nose. That's a stop. And I'll give her a micro release right when she stops. Get her. I should take his bridle off, then he'll get after her. There we go. Or him. There we go. Good girl. Break loose the hindquarter again. Good girl. Again, I'm just trying to break loose her hindquarter, not touching her with this right leg. Good. Leg off, lift my rein. There, that was a perfect stop. I love that. So I'm gonna rock, I like to rock back and forth, take my right boot out, just the toe in my left, swing off and touch her on the butt right there, and then just walk away. I do not pet her. I just walk away and let her kind of think about that. See how she's licking her lips? Oh, no, that's not so bad. Now I repeat the process on this right side. Remember, we got two eyes, right? This is her tougher side. Look at that lateral flexion. That's a lot better. I spoke too soon. Stay with her. Right there. Good girl. Good girl. All right. Now, I don't know how many times I've done it, thousands of times. It still feels weird getting on this side. Now I'm going to do the same thing going this way. Right leg. Break her loose going this way. She's a lot more freed up on this side. Good girl. Now, she's felt me with that left foot, so I'm slowly going to start pushing forward with that left foot. Notice that left foot starting to come on, and now we're going more forward movement. But see, she catches it with that other eye, and that startles her just a little bit. So now we're going to kind of move her out. There we go. Get that trot going. She's going to kind of want to stick right there to Cody, which is normal. That's okay. Not nag her. Sit down, leg off, lift my rein. There was a good one rein stop right there. Real good. Right leg, soft with my calf. Add my left leg right there, forward movement. Kind of nudge her. Get my movement going, get her forward. Good, sit down. Bring her to a stop. Good girl, give her another micro release. Right there. Step off. We'll switch one more side on this side, and then we're going to give this mare a soak. Ooh. 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 Left leg. When I get even with the panels, I'll push right there with my right. And I'll just drive her forward. There we go. I'll even use my rope to kind of push her a little bit. A little more sticky going this way. Good girl. I really try not to kick her, but she's pretty locked up going this way. So I'm just trying to move her forward. There. Get her moving out. Good girl. I really want to just get her freed up to where I'm not having to keep nagging her forward. When I start to get a little bit of freedom and her freed up a little bit, that's where we'll kind of quit on her. There, like right there. That was a little better. Good. There. You notice I'm not on her face. Try to very little be on her face, just more push her with my seat and my leg. We'll work Cody. That actually kind of worked out because she's got something to follow. There we go. Thanks, Cody. And then I'll sit down. I don't need you to keep following in though. I'll lift my rein, take my leg off, and I'll soften this rope as soon as she gets quiet. She needs a little bit more work on that lateral flexion, but other than that, she did fantastic. Now we got her trotting pretty good and moving out pretty good there. I'm going to do a real quiet little walk around in a circle. We're going to get off her, take this saddle off her, and she's going to soak right there, okay? There we go. Look at that quiet walk. And then right here, as we go, I'll just sit down and take that leg off. You see that stop right there? That was all seat and leg right there. So we're teaching her to kind of stop and slow down on our seat and leg. We'll just do that one more time, just kind of really understanding. There's forward. See how soft that calf got on her? And we'll just practice that a little. Sit down, leg off. Good. Push forward. Good girl. Sit down, just soften that up a little bit. Look how soft she is. That's what I want to quit on right there. Right there. Good girl. Okay, again, I like to let her know I'm coming off, so I'll rock back and forth. Take this boot out. I'm going to walk away from her for about 20 seconds, let her kind of think about all of it, then I'm going to come and take the saddle right off. Give her a full release. Right there. Step off. And she's still hooked onto me. There's no way that she's offended or upset about anything that we did. We definitely got her uncomfortable, but there's no doubt the interesting part is I'm just going to try something here. If she wants to gravitate towards Cody or me, she has every chance. Actually, I'll just do this. Maybe she thinks I still have that lead rope. But we kind of went, we kind of went through the trenches, if you will, right? She was uncomfortable at times and she was nervous at times, but yet she still wants to be with me. Good job. Good job. Everybody just do a big sigh for her. I mean, she earned it. Just a big sigh. Typically, I would like the halter to be on when I'm doing this, but I'm just going to take this saddle off right now. But typically, you want to have the halter on, but I'm just going to ease this saddle right off to give her a full release.